Welcome back to User Experience Design, Advanced UX Techniques. We're going to be starting into Section 5, Building a Motion Prototype. Setting up Principle for Mac, using more prototyping animation software. Now what you'll start to learn today is we're going to start looking at more opportunities to improve our motion prototyping. And we're going to look at some tools, why we use motion to continue our prototyping skills. And we'll look at some tools like Principle for Mac. We'll review some samples, and then we'll explore some opportunities at which to get started with this. Let's keep moving. Now, in our prototyping process up to this point, we've moved from sketches through to making symbols in Sketch and making them designed through color and typography and all these things. And along the way, we've been learning. And in that ability for us to learn and test our prototypes, we've been also understanding where our prototyping tools have limitations. InVision is a really great tool, but it also is not going to complete all the bells and whistles that we need for our products. And it may not show us some animation frameworks or some outputs of micro interactions or things like that. So we want to be able to build those into our output and test them as we continue to go. Now, motion studies have been around for a really long time, even since the output of Edward Muybridge, who is a pioneer in photography and captured things like horses running or people going downstairs. But the reality of motion is that it really allows us to understand how things work, right? And if we add some motion into our prototypes, we can actually assist our users in learning how things operate. Now, there are lots of tools for prototyping motion, but some of them use more advanced interactions like Framer.js. It uses a JavaScript framework. There's things like Angular, there's tools like After Effects, and we're going to look at a more recent tool that plays nicely with Sketch called Principle for Mac. Now, Principle for Mac is a really great way at which to get started. It can get kind of complicated, but you have an opportunity at which to pull it in. There's a free trial that we're going to be utilizing for this, but if you get into it, it's a relatively cheap piece of software and it plays really nicely with Mac and with Sketch. So let's go to Principle for Mac and just explore what they've got to offer. Go and download the zip file for creating their software. And also just explore some things that are available, what they're trying to do, right? They can do things like animations, you can do interactions between screens, and you can do multiple screen things internally to their resources. Now, these things are more advanced. We'll see how there's transition states and there's outputs to move between and how things slide. And we're going to explore just some basics of how this works. The place that's great about Principle is that it's going to utilize our existing sketch files that we've been working on to this point, right? We have lots of assets that we've already created, and there's no reason at which to repass over yourself just to do some animation outputs. Just like Animate allows you to do some things inside Sketch, this will import your tools and let you engage in that. Now, the role of Principle is one of many tools to some extent, but the reason that we are chatting about it and watch the videos and engaging in it is that because it plays so nicely with our existing tools of Sketch. What I encourage you to do is go download Principle, and you'll start to see that it has an interface that seems somewhat familiar to Sketch. Sometimes people relate it to between Sketch and XD, but there's this opportunity at which to visualize some of the things you're working on, an ability to import screens that we'll do in the next video, and then other things at which you can kind of familiarize yourself with just some basics of the layout of the output. Now, there's some preview outputs, there's the ability to explore both macro and micro interactions, and we're going to explore some of these as we move through the remainder of this course. Now, motion prototyping is starting to get to the point where we can nuance and test ideas. You don't want to animate an idea that you're going to throw away or that is not going to work. So if you found out that something is working, right, is usable or could be more usable if you can animate it, that's where we start to benefit from animations. And we've started to already do this because solving problems through these outputs is really great.